Hi, this is Jay Fallon with Writing CSS with Less, Part 2. We're going to continue today with the using the Less Ruby gem, just like we did from the other day. What we had is we built an index page with the basic heading, navigation, search, some content in a footer. And let's go ahead and open up that index page. I'm not going to do any changes to that today. It's pretty basic, so excuse me. Let's close that out. And for today, let's go ahead and start up our watch on our Less gem. And let's go ahead and write out some variables. And also today I'm going to deal with some mix-ins, which are features available with Less. For the variables, I'm going to start off with a global background variable. And I'm also going to add a background for the content. I'm going to borrow the colors from Owltastic, which is a website made by Megan Fisher. And I'm simply going to take the background, that color blue there, copy it in Color Schemer, and apply that as a value to our content_bg variable. I'm also going to make one based off of that blue color for the global background, a little bit darker. And let's go ahead and type that in. And I'm also going to add the HTML element to my code, as I'm using Yahoo's UI fixes, and they in the reset file for CSS they set the HTML as well. So I'm going to go ahead and change that and set the variables for the background to be global background. And I'm also going to take the content background and add that to the top wrapper. Okay, we're going to save that out and take a look. And nothing's working there. I did something wrong. Let's take a look. Oh, okay. So top wrapper, I got that there. That looks. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, supposed to put that within the as value. So for the background, we'll make it the variable content_bg. Going to start up again. Oh, it's working. So there we have it. We have all the content has the light blue background, and the additional everything else on the page, which in this case is just the footer, will have the darker background. So let's go ahead and start a little mix in here. I'm going to set the global widths of the elements on the page, which will carry across for the entire website. We'll just do them center aligned, and the width will be 1,000 pixels. So we take this class that I've just written out, the global width, just the name itself. I'm going to go ahead and apply that to the header, just as a class. And I'm also going to apply that to the content. And I close that up with a semicolon. I'm also going to apply that mix-in class, global width, to my footer, even though I've written the same information, which is the margin and the width. I'm going to go ahead and replace that with the global width. Now all three elements share the width, see? So we just refresh and we can see that it's applied that to our classes. Should I say to our ID divs. Let's go ahead and add a global font. And I've copied this one from another style sheet that I have that I like. And I'll just put that in there in shorthand. Close it off with a semicolon. And I'm also going to add that to my body. So this will carry across all the pages on my website that uses the application.css file. I'll apply the gold font, and you can see this 18 pixels, Helvetic and New. I'm also going to add a variable for my headings. I'm just going to use the smallest one, which is 4. And this way I can show you how the basics of the operations work. Let's tidy that up a little bit. I don't use heading 5 or heading 6 usually. Okay. So for the I'm going to add the clearfix class to my header to clear out the guillotine, which I know is going to happen. As they're going to have floated elements there, left and right. So let's go ahead and I'm going to make two. I had the header left and header right. I'm going to make them both each 500 pixels wide, and I'm going to float one to the left, and I'm going to float one to the right. I could make up another mixin for that if they're going to share that, but I just for right now we'll just leave it right inside the class itself. So here we go. We have the header left, which is 500 pixels wide, and header right, which is 500 pixels on the right side. Okay. So let's go ahead and set the font size for the heading 1. Here's the operation effect. I'll use the H4, and I'm going to multiply it by 2. So we knew it was 22 pixels, so now we have the heading 1 will be 44 pixels. And that's the simplicity of how the operations work, unless it can tell the difference between a color and a size in pixels. You can do a plus, you can divide, subtract, whatever you want to do there. And I'm going to set the background to my H1 to an image that I've made prior to this. It's logo flitter.png. Okay, so that sits right there. And now I'm going to go ahead and size that. And with the width of 226 pixels and a height of 71 pixels. Alright, so now we see the entire background image is visible there. I'm going to set the same dimensions on the anchor tag as well. And I'm also going to absolutely position the anchor tag. Okay, so now you can see that the backgrounds of both the H1 and well, the sizes of the H1 are the same with the anchor tag. And now I'm going to go ahead and make the text there vanish, just display none. I don't use that text indent minus 1000 pixel stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and add 20 pixels to the top of the margin for the logo. And that's about it. We're just going to let it sit right there. As you can see, the image is in the background. Okay. Okay. For global background, I'm going to use it. It has the color of the background of my main nav. Nope, that's not what I want to do. First I'm going to float that to the right, and I'm going to add, let's see, I'm going to float my list items in the main nav to the left, and I'm going to give it background variable to the UL tag. And I'm also going to set the overflow to visible, or auto. So there we go there. Okay. What else do we need to do here? Let's go ahead and float the search div, main search. Go to the right, tuck it right underneath there. And we'll add some padding to the unordered list, top, right, bottom. I'm going to leave the left at 0. And in my list items, I'm going to set the margin left to each one to 8 pixels. This will center align everything and make it look nice inside that dark background for the unordered list. Okay, next up, I'm just going to add some padding to the content. It's kind of bothering me that everything's so bunched together. I'll take the, I should just do top and bottom. I'll take the right and left out later on. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that to the footer as well, just to get things into a little perspective and a little more room to visualize. Okay, so now they are separate. Alright. Let's go ahead and modify the anchor tags here in the main nav. And I'm going to use, just to make things simple, I'm going to use the content background color for the off state in the anchor tags. Okay, and you can also put your, I'll just do text decoration none, and use my pseudo hover element. I'm going to nest that right inside the anchor tag. And we'll just give it the basics. Colored white, no, that's not right. And that's the, I think that's it for that. Go ahead and save it out. We'll have a look, and there we go. So now they have a not very bright hover. You can't tell much of a difference unless you're really looking, but it's a little bit of a detail there. Okay, so now for the main search, I'm going to go ahead and separate that from the top and just give it 15 pixels margin height. There we go, that looks nice. And see, let's add some shadow to the text. I'm just going to use css3.info, and they have the basic text shadow right in there. I'm not going to go too crazy with any of the CSS3 stuff in the coming years once all the browsers get a hold of that and are compliant. I bet we're going to see a lot of the CSS3 stuff come out, which is pretty much building a new door on the barn after all the horses have gone. Okay, so let's just build a main nav extras mix in, and we're going to set the horizontal to 0, 2 pixels for vertical, and then 2 pixels for the radius of the shadow. And we're going to add this directly to, let's see, put that right in the main nav right there. Refresh. Oh, a little bit too big. Let me go ahead and modify that for a second. Let's go ahead and just give it 1 pixel. Take a look. And that did it. Alright. So from the text shadow, I'm also going to use the box shadow on this guy, border radius. Both Mozilla and WebKit support this, but you have to add the values for each one. So let's take this. Okay, I'm going to do it on the bottom. And just close this for now. There we go. We'll set one for the bottom left. And then we'll use the one for Mozilla. Slightly different syntax, but same effect nonetheless. I'm going to leave that empty, and we'll do one for the right as well. Okay. Now I'm going to put the variable inside of the mixin class. We'll call that border radius, and we're going to set it to 5 pixels. And now I'll just take this guy right here and paste them into each one. I'm not sure if this is the correct way of doing it. Looks like there's a lot of repetition, but I'm going to have to take a better look at this and see if there's a better method. Okay, just going to refresh. And I can put that in the right place. It's all working well. What did I do? What did I do? I think I put the extras on the wrong tag. Yep. Okay, so let's take that main nav extras class out of the main nav. I'm going to put them in the unordered list right at the bottom there. Okay, and there you go. You can now see a 5 pixel radius on the bottom of the navigation background there. Okay, and let's go ahead and use the box shadow. Right. And we'll keep this pretty simple. Okay. And I'm going to add that back into the extras as well. And I'm going to modify these numbers a little bit here. So, horizontal, vertical, radius, color. I'm just going to keep it pretty simple, but I'm going to make another variable and I'm going to call that shadow. And we'll take these values right here, paste them in. I'm going to modify these so that they don't really jump too much out. It's just a little detail. And then for the box shadow, we're just going to add the shadow variable right in there. Looks good. I'm going to have to put it in for Mozilla and for WebKit as well. And they share the same syntax. Let's see. Go. Alright. If you take a look, we can see that we have a little bit of a shadow in there, not too much, but like I said, coming years we're going to see a lot of this stuff out there. Okay, so then we have the, I think that's about it. We have the header with the heading. See the text is still in there even though we're using an image. We have the nav all set up, a little bit of a hover state. And we have the search in there. I'm going to put some padding into the input there. I know Twitter does some other stuff to their form backgrounds, and one of the later chapters as we're finishing this up, I'll take care of some of that stuff and make it look more Twittericious, but there you go. So I think that's about it. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, just follow me on Twitter. We'll be back with part 3 shortly. Jumpstart Lab offers private and corporate training in Ruby, Rails, and related technologies. They're experienced educators, not just good developers, and will get you going quickly. Courses can be scheduled in the U.S. or around the world, and curriculum customized to meet your needs. Learn more at jumpstartlab.com.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!